welcome to another episode of Women in Resistance. And tonight, I am your host, Adesoji Iginla, as we go on. But before we start, we're looking at the life and times of Mbuya Nehanda. And we would delve more into it as we go along. But before that, I would like to welcome my sister from another mother, Aya Fubara Eneli Esq, before she goes into a medium. Sister, welcome.
Thank you.
Yes, Mbuya, a leader, a medium, a revolutionary. Her life continues to haunt the conscience of a nation or that of a people and continues to challenge our ideas of liberation. That is what we hope to delve into tonight. So, without further ado, we have Mbuya Nehanda, being someone from the ancestral lands, and welcome.
Thank you.
So, who is Mbuya?
I am the grandmother of the nation of a people known as the Shona, a people who reside in a place now known as Zimbabwe, a people who understand their connection to the land, to the water, to the animals, to the minerals, a people who understand their connection to one another, to their brothers and sisters, their African brothers and sisters all across the land. Even the people of Ndebele, who at one point harassed us so much that we temporarily saw the white man who came calling themselves the South African, what did they call themselves?
The Boers.
The organization that Cecil John Rhodes created.
So that's the British South African Company.
Yes. And when they came, we thought they will be like the Portuguese that we had been trading with
Mm,
for a very long time.
mm,
They would come not to stay, but to trade and to leave. But we saw their presence as a form of protection from our brothers and sisters, the Ndebele. You know the Ndebele. They migrated from South, where the area now called South Africa. In fact, their leader was one of the leaders under Shaka Zulu. They came They came with a warring spirit. That is how they moved up from where they were in the southern part of the deep southern part of Africa, and then moved. And they moved into different countries before they now settled in the region that collectively now is known as Zimbabwe. And my people, we were hunters and gatherers,
Mm.
and we also tended cattle,
Mm.
and we operated more with a long spear when it came to defending ourselves or fighting. So it's a long spear, with a long stick with a spear tip. And so in battle, you throw it. But then, even after it hits your opponent, you have to go and retrieve it so that you have it to throw again. But then the Ndebele, they had big shields, and then they had smaller hand-held swords, short, much shorter.
Yeah.
And so they came in close, and then they will hit, but they still had their weapon, but they're
Mm.
shielding themselves with their shield. So it was very effective, and they very much had the upper hand on us. And so when the white man, John Cecil Rhodes type of white man, the British, when they came, there are many ways that the spirit moves. You have to be paying attention,
Mm.
because depending on your need at that time, you might not understand how one hand is helping to meet your need, but the other hand is getting ready to kill you. That thing that is given to meet your need might be the thing that is going to weaken you. And so when they came, we did not initially resist them, because we saw them as somewhat of protection from the Ndebele, because they had even more superior weapons.
Mm.
Weapons that we should have realized would one day be turned on us. It did not take long. You have one of our other brothers who, like a son to me, but from a different part of Africa, he said, quoting our people, not necessarily that he came up with it, but quoting our people, he said, when a handshake passes the elbow, do you know that?
Mm.
Do you know that proverb?
When the handshake passes the elbow, it becomes more of a threat to the
Yes,
extended hand. Yeah.
yes. So we were shaking hands, and at a point we realized the handshake had passed the elbow,
Elbow. Yeah.
because these they call in their books they call themselves colonists.
Colonizers.
No, they don't even say colonize. They just say the colonists, right? They just
Mm-hmm.
it's a very kind of,
A more semantical way of
yes,
saying
just
it. Yeah.
not a. Some people will even just gloss over it. But what they were was a marauding, murderous, greedy,
Mm.
disrespectful
Mm.
people. I will still say they are people. I will have to start the story at an earlier time. I was born Shawe Nyakasikana. I did marry and I had children. But I was chosen and I became a medium for the spirit of Mbuya Nehanda.
Mm.
Mbuya Nehanda, that spirit, it still lives, will always live. When I said, Mafupa angu achamuka, my bones will rise again. It wasn't just to talk, just to say words. I will go into the meaning more. The spirit of Mbuya Nehanda, for even 500 years before I was born, will choose who it will come through in each generation. When that spirit chooses you, you remain in your physical body, but you are able to see and communicate with the ancestors and the spirit world, all of creation, on a level uncommon to the everyday person. It is truly an honor to be selected. You don't seek it out. Nobody can seek it out. But when that spirit comes upon you, you are in service to that spirit. You are in service to your people. You are a caretaker of your people, of your land. The people are nothing without their land.
Yeah.
So stories have been written. Oral tradition tells the stories of Mbuya Nehanda. One version that these marauding rapists and murderers like to put forth, and you must notice how they narrate our stories
Yeah. True.
versus theirs. So when they write their Bible and they tell their story, and it's just brothers and sisters, but somehow brothers and sisters have more children that populate the world. They do not say anything about ritual of incest.
Mm.
But when it came to telling the story of Mbuya Nehanda, they now tell the story of how the original Mbuya Nehanda was the daughter of the son who founded a particular dynasty. And then he had a son who was now the half brother to that daughter. And how the father wanted to make sure that the lineage was even stronger. And so he made his son commit a ritual of incest with his
Ancestors.
half sister.
Mm.
And that son eventually gave some of his kingdom to his sister, Mbuya Nehanda. And because of her spiritual gifts, she became so powerful. So, this foundational story that they tell, and they now put in ritual of incest that they never tell in their own stories, if we're not careful, we hear it a certain way and we have unpleasant feelings towards our own stories, our own spirituality. The original Mbuya Nehanda, through who comes through me, was described by many and in our folklore as like a semi-mythical kind of ancestor. She was a sister of Zezuru, who was the founding ancestor Chanunuka, and as the daughter of Mutota, who was the historical founder of the 16th and 17th century trading empire. We had been trading. We had been conducting our affairs.
Correct.
We did not need the white man. We did not ask for the white man. That empire was known as Monomotapa. And so, if you read even a book like Terence Ranger's, well, it's not quite a book, but he wrote a monograph in the revolt in southern Rhodesia.
Sure. Yeah.
Imagine that we're calling our own land
Yeah.
Rhodesia. You know where that name came from?
After a settler named Cecil
No, it's
Rhodes.
not. It's not a settler. You cannot call him a settler. I ask my question again. You know where that name came from?
Okay, it came from an imperialist named Cecil Rhodes.
No, imperialists do not answer the question. Do you know where that name came from? You have to call the thing what it is so that the future generations will know. What was that thing called a man whose name was Cecil John Rhodes? What was he?
He was a killer, plunderer, rapist, and a speculator.
The evil that that man did on the face of the earth, I'm not sure can be rivaled by maybe more than 2 or 3 other people in the history of the world.
Mm.
These are murderers in a very unique category. We cannot just say imperialist. These are, in your culture, you people have something you call zombie.
Zombies.
What is a zombie?
There's an evil spirit which is captured, which has been captured and goes around marauding.
It just kills
Yeah,
and never stops.
it's insatiable.
Just that no humanity, no heart. Eh, you people who like to research and study stuff, you might want to go from a spiritual perspective to understand this notion of zombies and how many of these so-called colonists, colonizers, imperialists, all the nice whitewashed names they give themselves, how many of them perhaps were a different kind of spirit, devoid of any heart or humanity, any connection to their creator, anything that could allow them to feel and sense pain from other people because they could not stop killing, could not stop raping. The more pain they inflicted, the happier they got. But there was no end. We cannot just call them imperialists. Yeah, didn't one of my daughters from across the ocean, did she not research the concept of Yurugu?
Mm.
A shrunken kind of evil spirit. But let me go back to the story. So, for over 500 years at that time, Mbuya Nehanda, even after she was no longer in her physical body, because the physical body comes and goes, but her spirit continued and continues to live in the land.
Mm.
But there's a twist to this story. And so, me, born, they say, around 1840, at some point in my early womanhood, Mbuya Nehanda chose me. It is an honor and it is a burden because you have a responsibility to the people. You are first and foremost a manifestation of that spirit, more than a wife, more than a mother, more than a daughter. And people accord you not just that respect, but there's an expectation. They look to you. And when these zombies, these killers, showed up and then started to show their hand, how do you take the very livelihood of a people? Using their superior guns, they took our cattle. They gave each of themselves, counted one, not two, but 3,000 acres of land each. Did not human beings live on that land? And they now using their weapons, their very tools of the zombie,
Mm.
forced people who owned their lands, who were self-sufficient. They cut off the trade with the Portuguese and with anybody else. And they forced those people, they take your land and force you to work the land for them for no compensation. But at the same time, they are taxing you. One time they called it a hot tax.
Tax. Yeah.
And they will now ask you, how many cows, how many goats, how many uh, chicken, everything that you had. And based on that, they will now levy a tax against you, which since you had no money, you can't trade, they're not paying you for your labor. You had to pay in your livestock.
Yeah.
You had to pay with your free labor. And that is how. Do you know that just from the Ndebele people, they got 320,000 cattle? As some of my children tell me today, that is like $160 million. And then from the Shona people, they got 3 times that amount. How do we survive? Oh, but the story gets worse. Do you know that our Creator, our ancestors made sure to provide for all of our needs? Our land had everything we needed. We were people who also operated in iron ore. We knew how to extract the iron ore, make metal, fashion different items that we needed, and some that we sold. These zombies, these heartless spirits, these inhabiting human beings, these Yurugu, now took over the mines. They worked us as though we were less than beasts of burden. How do you stay on your own land and sit quiet while your entire humanity is stripped from you?
Mm.
And so, in June 1896, the Ndebele people had had enough, and they initiated what we now call, what do we call it?
The Chimurenga.
The first one.
Yeah.
They,
The resistance.
they began it around March of 1986 because it became crystal clear.
1896.
1896. It became crystal clear to us. There is no compromise with these people. In your movies that you watch, have you ever seen where the people were able to call a meeting with the zombies and explain to the zombies, here is food you can eat. We self we can eat. We can coexist. Have you seen that?
Nope.
Shebi, that is them that put the movie together. So they are telling you who they are.
True.
So all of you still trying to negotiate. If I show them love, if I talk to them, if I talk like them, if I wear my hair like them, if I sing like, they will now say, oh, all this time we didn't know. We have won. Let us work together. I believe
Mm.
that just like the spirit of Mbuya Nehanda can choose and choose a medium, that even evil spirits can also overpower. Mbuya Nehanda, she doesn't overpower. If she come, you don't want, she move on. But of course, she's very astute in who she chooses to be her
Yeah.
medium.
True.
But I believe that these evil spirits, they just go from person to person. And it is quite possible that they now infect even the people that look like you and me. Do
Mm.
you know that there is a man called Mashi? And he was a police officer working with the zombies. But he was one of us. And at the time when the rebellion, what they call rebellion, you mean a people fighting for their own,
Existence.
our own place? He now acted as though he had shifted allegiance. And he came over to our side and said, I can give you information. And he said he was fighting with us.
Mm.
But everything eventually comes to light. Ask me what happened to him later. And so, even though we had had issues with our brothers and sisters in Debele, you know, they are both their women and their men fought.
Mm.
We understood that our enemy was one and the same.
Correct.
This was not the time to hold past grievances against them.
Mm.
So they started fighting back in March. By June, Mbuya,
Shona.
Mbuya Nehanda spoke to me and I gave the okay to my people. It is time to join this fight for our freedom, for our autonomy, for us to live on a land that is governed by our own spirituality, for us to live like human beings, not like mere dogs
Mm.
for the zombies, who at any rate will eat and kill us at any time. And the battle raged on. But let me tell you about these zombies. As crazy and disjointed as they look in your movies, do you see how they work in tandem? They still have the mental capacity. This house, there are some people in it. Some will climb here, some will climb there, some will break the door, some will go attack the window. Everywhere you're surrounded by these people. And we fought. But finally, it came to a point where, with their superior weapons, they were able to now capture some of the people that they considered the head of the what they called rebellion. Initially, they were very surprised because they met us as a welcoming, kind people,
Yeah.
and they
Mm.
mistook it for this is all they can be. So it was 14 June 1896, the first killing happened in Shona land. The uprising began with the deaths of several Europeans. I don't call them Europeans, I call them Yurugu, zombies, killers, murderers, rapists. They use our, our women as a thing of pleasure to be discarded at any point. And so, near the Ntupsha River, the following day, the native commissioner called David, he was killed. And what these zombies don't like is they don't like for any of them to be killed. David Mooney was killed because their concern is, ah, if these people realize that we are possessed but we are human, it will embolden them.
Yeah.
They will no longer believe in what are all the things that they teach you people? Manifest destiny.
Destiny.
They were
Exceptionalism.
chosen by God, and so on and so forth. So by June 17th, the Mazoe outbreak took place, the Alice mine attack. The miners rose up in opposition. And they say that it is me
He was the instigator.
as the medium for Mbuya Nehanda that inspired the fighters, because see, we have always been a spiritual people,
True.
and our enemies have done well to observe us. That is why they came with their religion. They corrupted the original African Christianity, switched it around, came with their religion. They know that we believe that a human being cannot live in a spiritual vacuum. That will make you a zombie. And
Mm.
so they were able to turn our heads, some of us, from the spirituality of our people to embrace their own. Now, once you are possessed by their own form of spirituality, you can see how you turn on your own. So they said, these people are spiritual people. They will not go to war. They will not rise up against us unless their spiritual leaders told them this would be a favorable outcome.
Mm.
So if you study how these zombies moved across the continent of Africa, there's a playbook. That playbook includes identifying the spiritual leaders and not just
Or decapitating them.
killing them in a very undignified manner, killing them in a way that their goal is to once and for all stop the power of the spirit. And then they infuse their own spirit. So, African people, up and down, up and down, up and down, you go to their house. Do you know the picture of who you see? If it's not the Jesus that does not look anything like them, they are talking Muhammad, they are talking Buddha, they are talking everything but their own. Possessed people. By late June 1896, a very wretched zombie, even more wretched than the regular zombie, called Henry Hawken Pollard. Who calling their child Hawken?
Hawkins.
He was, they said, ambushed and killed near Manzowe. We say he was killed in battle. The colonial zombies now said that it is me, Mbuya Nehanda, that ordered his execution. One witness, our own people, now possessed by the zombie. You see how how do the zombies operate? If they bite you,
You
you
become
become
them.
like them. So one of the witnesses now said, listen carefully to these words. This is a thing that is still an issue across the continent of Africa and wherever Black people are around the world. You tell me whether you don't see this where you are.
Mm.
This African zombie now said, and I quote, I was a native messenger. Have you no shame, my son? How do you, as a grown man, become a messenger for people who are here to kill your people? Are you well in the head? No, you are not well in the head. You have been bitten, you are a zombie. He said, I went with Pollard. Pollard now being the one standing in for the white Jesus he has been told is this, he's his spirit guide. He said, I went with Pollard. Gwazi was told to catch hold of Pollard. So they took him to Nehanda. I heard Nehanda say to Wata, kill Pollard, but take him some way off to the river or he will stink. Wata said, Nehanda sent me. Then he took his axe and chopped him behind the head. This is what a corrupted African said against me, because his allegiance is now to the zombie spirit in him and no
Mm.
longer the spirit of his people that we used to respect and revere. From August to September 1896, we now have ah the rapists, the murderers, the zombies, this Yurugu, their eye is shining red. We must not allow these people to defeat us, because if the story gets out that these people defeated us, the whole of Africa, where they were injecting their spirit, will wake up and rise up. So these murderers now besieged, they ascended on, they called in more troops. When these people say, we didn't resist, ha.
Hmm.
When you are a peaceful people just trying to live on your land, and then somebody comes, already they have been planning for you, and all their mind they use not to create good in the world, but they use to create more and more instruments to carry out death and destruction.
Destruction. Yeah.
Does not that tell you that an evil spirit is amok?
Hmm.
If you can take something, I believe the Chinese found the gunpowder.
Yeah.
What did they use it for?
Fireworks. Just
Celebration.
yeah.
And then these people come and they look at it, this evil spirit,
This is the West.
and their whole mind is, let
Destroy.
us use to destroy. And no matter how much we destroy, it's not enough. We must destroy more
Destroy
and
some
more and
more.
more.
Yeah.
So they now attacked Chief Makoni in his own area where he was strong. And by September 4th, they had captured him of 1896.
Hmm.
Do you know what they did with the leader of his people?
Let's tell.
They executed him by firing squad. You know why you don't just kill somebody quietly? It does not put enough fear in people, because people can still tell stories. Maybe something else happened. Maybe a snake bit him. Maybe something. But when you use it as what do you people call it today? Entertainment.
Yeah.
When you put it on public
Public
display,
display.
your goal is not just to kill the person. You could have killed them anytime. Your goal is to what?
Send a message.
uh And then when people see that what they think is superior power, our chief, we thought invincible.
People.
Look at
Yeah.
him,
Mm-hmm.
helpless, tied, killed like a rag doll. Worse than, you know, we don't even kill animals like that.
True.
Then that spirit of fear, like a virus,
Mm.
it just spreads through the people. People be whispering, telling their children. Pregnant women feeling fear. The children have already come out afraid.
Mm.
So we continued with the resistance, because what we're fighting for is the ability to live. How can you live as a human being and some other human being, some evil spirit will tell you where you can live, what you can eat? Now
How you can eat.
we don't even have our animals anymore. They keep
Mm.
finding a reason to take it. And the laws of our land mean nothing to them because our land belongs to the people and the future generations. You can't sell it. In you people's culture today, in your law class, in your court, before you can sell a land, you have to show you own it. If you don't own it, you can't sell it. In our culture, you can't sell the land. It's not yours to sell. But these
Mm.
people disregard everything. 3,000 acres per white man. Can you imagine these very useless spirits who were eating themselves in their place? Now it's advertised. Come here. You can attack any of the women anytime you like. And you get 3,000 acres of land. And you don't have to work the land yourself because the people you have conquered will work it for you. Then you sell the goods and services and everything, and you make your money, and now you become a respected person in your land. Yurugu.
Mm.
So we fought. And my job as Mbuya Nehanda's medium was to hear and to instruct. But I was also aware we were up against a virus, a spirit of fear.
Mm.
Some of us were fighting valiantly. Some of us were infected. After more than a year of resistance, when these white people, these Urugu, these zombies, these murderers, these rapists, these
Mm.
thieves, when they realized, oh, just fighting these people is not working, I believe one of us told them, you must cut off the head of the spiritual leaders. Because if they have no spiritual guidance, they will scatter. I'm thinking, maybe I'm right, maybe I'm wrong, you tell me. If you have a beehive with the one queen mother bee, if you kill that queen mother bee, what happens to the beehive?
The hive dies.
Every answer we're looking for is in nature. So these people set up that they must capture me, Mbuya Nehanda, a woman. Look at me. Do I have any weapon in my hand?
Mm.
Do I have any spare? I am but a medium. They came after me and they came after Sekuru Kaguvi because they said he too
Potuk.
is a spiritual leader of his people. And they captured us in an area that these people, we have been living on the land, we have names for our land. These people came, oh, it's a Rhodesia. Then the air place where they captured me, they now called it Salisbury.
Mm.
These are names, it's not even name that can come off our tongue. But this is how this zombie spirit must take over everything, erase everything, cut off the head of your spiritual guides, kill off your griots, your jallies, the people who are the keepers of your history and your culture. They
Mm.
kill them off immediately. Now it's like if you say you are going to climb Mount Everest and you have a seasoned guide teaching you how to climb,
Yeah.
all somebody has to do to ensure your death
To
is
remove the
to
guide.
eliminate your guide. You are now in a state of confusion. My people are still in a state of confusion.
Mm.
And when I say, Mafupa angu achamuka, my bones will rise again. My people are heeding that call. They heeded that call when they started the second,
Chimurenga.
but that call continues. I will tell you why. So these people, these zombies, they look like people, no spirit in them except evil. They now, because they still want the world to be fooled by their humanity, to be fooled by they have the spirit of God. Yes, you do, the God of evil. They now had what they called a trial. Do you know how many African leaders they did this to?
Mm.
Now, the people you are talking to who are going to make the decision at this trial, they don't speak your language.
Yep.
They don't know your culture. You don't speak their language. They are not using the laws of your land. They are bringing in their own laws that you don't know.
Mm.
Tell me, how is that going to work out?
Predetermined, of course.
So they tried us under what they called martial law. When they are killing us, no law, because it's their right as zombies to attack and eat and kill. So when they are killing us, no, no law. But then they now convicted me and my brother, Sekuru Kaguvi. They convicted us and sentenced us to death for our supposed roles in the killing of one man, H. Pollard. Probably a human being that would have amounted to nothing in his own country,
Correct.
but can now come to our land
Hmm.
and eat to his heart content as a zombie. They claim that my brother Kaguvi, to save himself, had said that they should blame Mbuya Nehanda, Goronga, and Waponga. There was another one person who was also captured with us, that Mashi person I'm telling you. But he was not convicted. Ha! Lessons to be learned. When someone looks like they are in it with you, but when the punishment comes,
Hmm.
somehow their name is not there, you must ask yourself and you must learn for the future. On April 28th, Some of their books say they hung us. Some of their books, they were so concerned about my spirit. At first, they shot me before they put me on public display in front of the people to kill me, because I think they were concerned if they tried to put me on public display and the spirit rose up and did something else, how that would embolden the people. So, according to some of them, they shot me first, then put me up there for display.
Yeah.
So, and then hung me. But they were not done. Their district surgeon had to now write a report, and he said, I certify that I have examined the body of Nehanda. See, when they talk, no spirit in their talk.
Aye.
Examine, okay. Upon whom sentence of death had been executed, and that life is extinct. Look at all the big language to say, we have killed her.
Killed her. Yeah.
We have murdered her. If you don't know their language, you are reading the thing, even after you have studied their language. Life is extinct. What? Eh?
Hmm.
But the one thing they did report is that when they convicted me and they were trying to get me to convert,
To
even
Christianity.
then, even after their zombie self decided they're going to kill me, they still had one more act, because they needed to, for their spirit to infect even more of our people. And the way to do it is to say, hey,
Even your medium.
this, even Mbuya Nehanda has bowed
Hmm.
down.
True.
And I said, Mafupa Angu Achamuka. But do you know what these people did?
Hmm. Tell us.
Can you imagine a people who have attempted at great cost to convince the world and the people that they have killed and murdered and raped and stolen their land and stolen their resources and impoverished all over Africa today, poverty? You think that just happened?
Hmm.
Can you imagine that these people who say that they are civilizers, these people who say they are like God, that they cut off my head, that my remains till today are
Hmm.
not on my land? A people are nothing without their land. They have taken. Can you imagine that when my children rose up after the Second Chimurenga War that led to our quote unquote independence? Do you know what year that was? This independence we're talking about.
1980.
Think about it. From 1898, when
1996.
they executed me, we are agitating, and do not even in name get back our land. Let
Hmm.
me rephrase. No, we didn't get back our land. Position ourselves to be able to get back our land until 1980. What is that? How many years is that? Is that not 88 something years?
Yeah.
And then, even when they signed the paper and said, okay, this is now your land, how is it that all of these Yurugu have paper still keeping the 3,000 plus acres and all the other acres that they now acquired generation after generation. So we are independent but no land.
Mm.
How do you live?
Mm.
And then they find people who look like us, who have been infected by the virus, who have been bitten by the zombie, because they took some of us, they took us to their zombie land and made sure that that evil spirit against ourselves was now in them. Then those people return to lead us.
Mm.
And that spirit, that evil spirit, is still roaming. But I rise. So by 2020, my people said, you must return.
The land.
Well, we fought for the land. We're still fighting for the land, but we now fought for the bones of our heroes, that these people, these so civilized people, took our bones. They took a bag and put all of my spiritual items. They could not leave it in the land. They were concerned that the spirit of Mbuya Nehanda will now choose someone else. They took even all my spiritual tools with my remains and took it to their place. Can you imagine talking to some people and they admit to you that they have over 20,000 human remains? They call it remains. Are you going to call your ancestors remains? You see how they use language. We believe you came from the earth, you returned to the
Onto
earth.
the
And
earth.
when you take that and you put us in a cardboard box, you put us in a drawer, you say, we don't even know. We have like 20,000, we don't know where it came from. Which type of people?
Collect bone.
They want to capture our spirit. It's the same reason they wanted that Ashanti tool. No matter what, they wanted that Ashanti tool. Can you imagine that they returned some of the artifacts that they stole from Ashanti people? And they now told the Ghanaian government that they are giving it to them on loan for 6 years. Hey! You come to my house with your evil spirits. You break into my house. You take my things. You agree it is my thing. I tell you it is my thing. There's no argument that it is mine, because what you took, you can never show that you made yourself. So you
Mm.
had to admit that you
Mhm.
stole it.
Mhm.
And then you now say, I will charge you money to see the thing. And after I've made all this money, okay, I will let you borrow it. Tell me that is not an evil spirit. No, tell me. Tell me it's not an evil spirit. Tell me that a person with a heart, a human being connected to the true God, tell me that they can even conceive of such a thing
Mm.
and have no shame,
True.
very proud about it. And so, as of this year, they are in the process of returning, in their words, the remains. In our words, we are returning our people to our land. That disconnection is not a good thing for us. We need
Mm.
to continue the cycle unbroken. And they know this because they study us.
Mm.
But they are set to return 13 quote unquote, remains. Although they now say they're not absolutely certain whether they can identify any of them as my bones. But I tell you, just like we rose up in the First Chimurenga War, we rose up in the Second
Second
Chimurenga War,
Chimurenga.
we
Yeah.
got our, at least on paper, independence. I am still, my bones are still rising. My spirit is still moving. And we're going to eradicate the zombies amongst us.
Mm.
We are going to reclaim our land for ourselves and for our future.
Mm.
There are so many people now who are rediscovering me, rediscovering the power of being a medium. Even that word is their own word. The
Yeah.
spirit come upon you and you work for the spirit.
True.
So now there are songs, they're singing about me. But the thing that almost made me, even in my spiritual state, not almost, it made me sit down and, to be funny, rattle my bones. Is I saw a group of the offspring of the Yurugu, therefore Yurugu themselves,
Singing.
now putting on a very elaborate
Play.
performance with music, with my name. And then I now saw my children, the ones infected by the zombies, in the thing you people call the chat. And in it, oh, this is the Zimbabwe I want to see. Oh, look at the, because white people are calling my name. Do you think they're calling my name for good?
No. No.
So some things for those of you who want to look at, you can go to the UNESCO Memory of the World program. You will see the judgment dockets of Nehanda and Kagubi. This is not a made-up story. I lived. My spirit still lives. You can go to the Zimbabwe Field Guide. You'll see the Nehanda and Kagubi trials, the archival summaries and testimonies.
Mm.
I already told you about the revolt in southern Rhodesia from 1896 to 97, a study in African resistance,
Mm-hmm.
written by Ranger Terrence, published by Heinemann. Evil spirits, zombies, Urugus all around, kill me and then benefit from telling stories about me.
Mm.
You will see it in a book written by Stanlake Samkange, The Story of Nehanda. And there are
Yeah.
many more that you can find information about me.
You can even get the general history of Africa, Africa under colonial domination.
Yes.
Uh, it's the Chimurenga is there, the first and second Chimurenga. So,
But I want to ask your people, how do you know what type of tree you're looking at? Is it
mm,
not by its fruit?
yeah.
Will you see orange tree and call it mango? Is that helpful for you? You must look at the fruit of these people. I call them people because I have a generosity of spirit. And at one time, maybe a long time ago, when they were first Africans who migrated, I think, yes, they were human. But from their fruit right now, not me saying it, I'm asking you, from their fruit right now, if you look at the tree, all the fruit under the tree is labeled death,
Mm.
pollution, destruction, ego, rape, stealing, genocide, disease. If the tree you see all the fruit, will you not, do you have to bite into it to confirm its death?
No.
My people, my spirit still lives, but the spirit can only work through those who will allow the spirit to work through them.
Mm.
And you must open your eyes to see what is being revealed to you
Mm.
so that you can conduct yourself differently. But whether you choose to or not,
Mm.
this I guarantee you, mafupa angu achamuka.
Yeah.
My bones
Would
will
rise again.
rise again. And not just my bones, the bones of all of our ancestors.
Mm.
Hmm. Thank you.
No, thank you. Thank you. Thank you in underscoring the point that women have always been at the forefront of resistance when it comes to imperialism, colonial domination, and what have you. And the fact that this um, Cecil John Rhodes was the head of a charter company that was sent into Southern Africa, to grab land, grab resources on behalf of the crown, even though people would put the story down to him, but he still did it on behalf of the crown. Because when he went into Mashona land and in Matambele land, he didn't do it on the back of himself. He did it in the name of the crown. So it's like you said, the fruit doesn't fall far from the tree. It is what it is. The the faster we confront what we are looking at and call it what it is, the better the world, survives. And yes, thank you for coming through. Um, yes, with that, we've come to the end of another episode of Women and Resistance. Next week, we'll be looking at the life and times of Shirley Chisholm. I'm sure people will be familiar with that name, but then there might be some other thing that you don't quite know about Shirley Chisholm. So you could join us next week as we sit and listen to her tell her story. And of course, I must thank you all for coming through as usual. And do like, share, subscribe, do all the good stuff. And also to inform you that the audio version of this will be available tomorrow, that you can download and listen and share whenever you can if you've missed anything. But it is, again, it's been a, a labor of love because we're talking about our stories.
Hmm.
When you started earlier, you said it is important that we tell our stories. And we cannot underscore that more, as it is even more pertinent now in the times we live in. Artificial intelligence has watered down everything, that the real stories have to find a way of germinating in the ears and the hearts of our people. So thank you very much for coming through.
Thank you. It is an
And
honor.
from me, it's our honor, it's our pleasure, our honor. And from me, it is good night and God bless. And until next week, like I said, it will be the turn of Charlie Chisholm and speak. And good night.